Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everyone, to another amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. Long time coming. This has been coming. This episode has been building. This we knew was going to happen about 9 months ago, maybe 10 months ago. We had a new member come into Referral Mastery Academy. And listen, we've got hundreds of people that are on the screen at our RMA masterminds and the things that we do. And like this guy started talking and it's like, man, he's in. Like he's in. Like he's in. Like he's all in. Like he's committed to seeing what happens here. And I told my team that this is 9 months ago. I said, listen, this guy is going to be a star. This guy is going to do it. And this guy is going to be on the podcast. That's my prediction. And they're like, who? Right. Who is this? This is 9 months ago. They were like, how's that going to work? And I like, just watch. He's implementing. He's doing stuff. He trusts the system already. And he's got the biggest heart I've seen. He's finally found a system that aligned with his heart and his work ethic. And listen, it's going to happen right now. Have I made predictions like that in the past and maybe they didn't wash out? Occasionally, right? But usually you see it. And here's the lesson of today's podcast for all of you is like, be like him. Be like him from the beginning and be like him consistently. And that's what I really want you to get out of this today is how does Michael identify these ones, or how does anyone, any successful person, when they look around a room, we can usually tell who's going to be successful. Isn't that interesting? Not talking to them, not knowing anything about their history, but we know, we can see it. And what is it? It's a posture. It's an attitude. It's a nodding of the head. It's just a stance. It's a open-mindedness. It's a commitment. It's all of those. And today we're going to, like, how do we encapsulate that? How do we all put this in place so that we're eventually interviewed on something like Referrals Podcast, or we're, the number one agent in our office, or we're the number one lender in our mortgage company, or we're just building, right? And today we're going to show you how that works. And I'm very excited to bring it to you. So hang on, get your notepad ready, get your pen ready, because you're going to want to write a lot of things down. Now, here's the thing. I've got to give a shout out, speaking of successful people, to Gene Walker, who is a commercial insurance agent. We speak to a lot of realtors and lenders and people in the real estate field. And then we have these financial planners, attorneys, and insurance agents, and so on and so forth, who discover the power of love, generosity, and appreciation, and a system, the Referral Mastery System. And listen, Gene Walker, you want to talk about, this doesn't always happen this way. Gene Walker wrote, my first week after reading 7L and implementing, I got 6 referrals simply from just caring and helping. I stepped it up a notch by simply saying, how can I help you? And it went wild. Power note cards are ordered. Phase 2 of implementation happening. Thank you so much, avid listener to your Referrals Podcast, Gene Walker. Gene is a commercial insurance agent. Gene, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And listen, Gene's in Referral Mastery Academy. Our guest today is in Referral Mastery Academy. Why are you not in Referral Mastery Academy? I truly believe that it is the best value out there, the biggest no-brainer in sales. If you're in sales if you need to like get your own business, if you're in lead generation or prospecting, this is the answer. Every month we have the answer to conquer your challenges. Referral Mastery Academy next month is Summerfest, a 30-day challenge where you have the opportunity to get 31 referrals in 31 days of July. You have that opportunity. How do you do it? You watch a small video, you implement, you report in the group. That's it. That's it. In 17 minutes a day, you could be getting a referral a day. So Summerfest is happening. You can check that out at summerfestchallenge.com, but it's less expensive and a better value to just go to referralmasteryacademy.com and just go all in. We'd love to have you, and we appreciate you. And great things coming. Time Mastery class is coming up in August. We have Networking Mastery class coming up in September. We have Event Mastery coming up in October and November. We have a system that produces referrals, repeat and referral business, agent to agent referrals, whatever you want. We've got the system for it. We'd love to work with you. Referralmasteryacademy.com. Speaking of it feels like our Referral Mastery Academy Ambassador of the Month interview right here. Very powerful. Today's guest is Joey Calvin. He's a realtor with Keller Williams Trussville, which is just northeast of Birmingham, Alabama. With over 20 years of experience in construction and outside sales, Joey brings a grounded, hands-on approach to helping clients navigate the home buying and home selling process with ease and confidence. He's also a proud husband and father of 5 kids, which makes mastering his time essential. He has gone through Time Mastery class, Event Mastery class, Networking Mastery class, our challenges, and everything else at Referral Mastery Academy. And the bottom line is he has seen an incredible increase in productivity and also more life, building it the love, generosity, and appreciation way. Welcome to the podcast, Mr. Joey Calvin.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you here as well. And I always feel like a great place to start is the beginning. So when did you join Referral Mastery Academy?
It was around August, September last year.
Yeah, so just like 9 months ago, right? 9, 10 months ago. So, all right. And so what did you do in the very beginning to kind of set yourself up for success?
Well, so funny story. When I first got connected, I was in a CE class, and one of your coaching clients from years past was teaching the CE class, and he mentioned just kind of nonchalant in the class, the book 7L changed my life. And so I was like, well, if he's making that hard of a statement, I've got to check this out. I read 2 chapters of it, put it down for a little bit, found it on Audible, and now I've listened to it probably right around 10 times, and then found other ways to connect through that. And I've found the Facebook page, Generosity Generation, and somehow through all that, I got a call with Coach, and I got a call with Tommy, and we talked for 30 minutes about hosting events. Tommy is full in on events, and so we talked about that. And I finished that call, and I told my wife, and I told a friend of mine, I was like, I was all in for this, but once I talked with them, it's all about hosting events. I was like, I don't really know that fits what I'm trying to do. I'm a realtor. I'm not really trying to host events. But then the more I plugged in and I kept getting notifications from the Facebook group, and I saw what everyone else was doing, I was like, well, maybe there's something more to this. Mm-hmm. And so I found out about RMA. Tommy was like, hey, it's a $99 a month commitment. It's not that big of a commitment for you. Just try it out, see what, how you like it. And once I got in, and I felt just so many people were on my level, and then there are people who who I would want to strive to get to. And I was like, hey, these guys are doing business the way I enjoy doing business. I read The Go Giver several years ago, and after listening through some of the Zoom calls and seeing you posting on Facebook and all that, I was like, maybe Michael Maher is the Go Giver. Maybe this book was written after him. And so I was like, I was just eager to plug in. And that as you're asking questions on Zoom calls, I'm like, I kind of already know this system because I'm already doing some of this, but not as intentionally as I could be. And
Yeah.
so it's been great. It's been good.
Yeah, I love that. I love the mention of Bob Berg and John David Mann's Go Giver. And I do have to just throw out the Go Giver is Bob Berg. Like he is the Go Giver. So I might be Rick Masters in 7L a little bit. I might be Jay Michaels in 7L a little bit. But it's one of those where I absolutely love how you work through the sequencing. You got to Referral Mastery Academy and you just like, all right, I'm in, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go 100%. And so what was the first class that you took that Referral Mastery Academy had available?
It was Event Mastery.
Okay. So that's interesting. So you're not sure events are the deal. You just signed up for, and there's other benefits to Referral Mastery. You were doing the masterminds live with me. You were doing, you were getting our newsletter with referral tips in it, things like that. But really it's like, all right, event mastery, you probably had to go into that a little bit tiptoeing because you weren't necessarily seeing how it aligned up with what you were already doing.
Exactly. Yeah, I had never really hosted an event for uh, this part of my life. I come from a family where we owned a restaurant and catering business, and we had been part of events, but we had never, I didn't see the value yet in doing that for my business and knowing how that could bring value to people I know, family, clients, friends, whatever. And so it just happened to be the first one. I was plugged into RMA. That was just the first thing that came up. And so I joined, and then you guys were talking about the Pi Day event.
That's
And
right.
I'd never heard of doing a Pi Day event, but I was just like, hey, I'm doing it. I get, if they're all doing it, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We had
it was,
over 300 people doing that at the same time, which made it really, really fun, really fun. And everybody kind of like, doesn't it feel better to like see others that are going through what you're going through at the same time?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
confidence.
Yeah. It built confidence and, you can also get into, compare-itis a little bit where you're comparing, we've got people that are giving away 1,000+ pies. And it's like, hey, don't worry about it. Give away 10 pies, give away 20 pies. It doesn't matter. Just run the system. The pies don't even matter.
Right.
It's running the system. So how many referrals were you getting before you joined RMA?
I wasn't keeping track of them. I did get a fair amount of referrals, but I didn't really ever think of it. Like it was just, if, and I was, and the way I would approach that was the wrong way. I was calling people and I had a sequence of, maybe I would call them every 3 months. And the focus of the call was, let's talk about things that maybe were interesting to them, and then make a beeline to asking for a referral.
Mm,
And that never really worked out. That
yeah.
it kind of backfires on you when you go in and your focus is on yourself. And I tried to never let that be, but I always felt like that was the way it was received. And it caused
Hmm.
a lot of call reluctance, even to your family and friends and past clients, because I don't want to call anyone without bringing some sort of value to the call. And even looking back to like younger married life or even high school days, thinking about, calling up friends and like, hey, come eat dinner with us, or let's go to a concert, or let's go to someone's field and camp out for the night and have a
Yep.
bonfire. You never really had any kind of reluctance calling anyone with that because it was just a fun thing to do. And they were eager to hear from you. It was nothing. There was no tension there. But
That's right. No ulterior motive, right?
right,
And
yeah, nothing.
I
And
think I identified what I loved about you in the beginning is we're both bonfire party people. We
yeah,
grew up with the bonfire in the field party, and all it was getting a bunch of people together around a warm bonfire. That literally was the intent of it, and there's something to that. So all right. So basically, we can say you really hadn't gotten any documented referrals. You've got some referrals, you had some relationships that turned into referrals and that kind of thing. But all right. So event mastery, October, November, you took event mastery, you gave away some pies. Give me a 1 minute snapshot of how that event went for you.
yeah. So I had no clue about how to reach out to people for partnerships, and actually kind of felt apprehensive about doing that. But as we progressed through event mastery and I learned how my partners could get value out of participating, I was like, hey, I know this roofer that would want to do it. I know a builder that would want to do it. I know a lumber supply company that would probably want to do it, and a flooring company, and so on. And they were all, I called them, I told them what we were doing. They were like, yes, let's go. And so we put that together. I actually forgot about the door prize part of it. Uh, and so that I kind of did it all wrong. It was more of it just a get together. We all got pies. We actually cut up some pies while we were there,
Heck
and
yeah.
had pies and coffee and hot chocolate. And we just hung out. We did pictures, and everybody left.
Yep.
And I didn't. I kind of messed up the follow up part of it. I messed up a lot of it, but I was able to still get referrals for my partners, and I got referrals for myself.
Yeah. And you kind of ran the system. I think I remember you telling me you like ran it at a 2 or 3 out of 10, and yet it was a huge success.
Yeah.
And I do want everybody to know if they've been listening to the podcast for a while, they immediately got that partners mean sponsors or vendors. And so sponsor partners, partners, we call them partners because we're having the event for all of us, not just for us. So just a clarification there. All right. So you did event mastery. You had some referrals. And by the way, what did that event cost you?
That first event cost me nothing. I think I ended up with about $400 left over after that. I actually told you in the group, I was like, I feel weird about having money left over. And I actually kind of held that back and applied it to the next event.
For sure. For sure. And so you actually made money making money. You made money having the event, and then made money on the referrals that turned out from that event. You probably could have made money through arrangements with your sponsor partners as well. But listen, we're getting started here. We're getting rolling, right? All right. So then kind of fast forward, right? So January hits and what was the next class that you jumped into with Referral Mastery Academy?
Yeah, so the next one was time mastery. The first time I took it, and that I did much better on the second time taking time mastery than the first. I was very preoccupied. I even remember telling Carla, I was like, ironically, I am in time mastery, but I don't have time to be on the Zoom calls. And
Yeah.
uh, and so I would watch the Zoom calls at a 1.5 speed at night when I was in the bed, half asleep, and I'm trying to focus. And but I still was able to see. I wasn't implementing to the level that I needed to be, but I started making tweaks in my daily schedule, and even just more focus on what's important to be spending time on. So I got that out of that one. Uh, this next one that we just finished was it has changed everything. So
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that, right? So I mean, here's the other thing. I mean, with Event Mastery, you implemented a little, you got, said 2 or 3 level, and on a schedule a level of 10, we've got a lot of levels to get to, right? And then Time Mastery, you implemented it like a level of 2 or 3, but you tweaked your schedule and you figured out a little bit about time management. Then what'd you take after that?
then was Event Mastery again uh, in leading up to Pi Day 314.
All right, so you did Pi Day for your spring event, and
Yes.
and in this case, we mean PI Day for March 14th. Pi is 3.141596. So 3.14 March 14th. You're doing another Pi Day. Did you do pizza or did you actually do pie?
No, we did pizza.
Okay, so right, spring pizza. Who doesn't love pizza, right?
Right.
So what'd you do better in Event Mastery 2 that maybe you didn't do in Event Mastery 1?
Uh, I learned how to do the Google form to invite people, and I was able to focus on my sponsors and partners through that. And I was texting it out to everyone. I actually learned the we were leading up to RMS, and so I'm kind of hearing a lot of that and implementing what I'm hearing about. I actually watched all three RMSs on YouTube leading up to that, so I got a lot of stuff, and just the Google Forms, being able to uh, focus on my sponsors, and I was giving referrals before the event ever happened. And
Mm-hmm.
because it was like, do you need any of these people? And people were texting back, or they were filling out the form, and it was populating my spreadsheet that someone needs a roofer or someone needs a florist or whatever. So,
I hope people learn. I hope they hear what you just said. You are actually giving referrals to the sponsor partners who were sponsoring an event that hadn't even occurred yet.
mhm.
You were giving documented referrals. How many referrals do you think you gave before the event?
Like leading up to that event,
Yeah,
I
before.
gave out 7 referrals to some of my partners before then, and I got 1 referral for myself before then.
Oh, so you actually got a referral before the event even happened, right?
Yeah.
Just simply by following the system. All
Yes.
right. So then you had your event and then you have your follow up. Tell me a little bit more about what you did with Event Mastery 2.
Yeah. So had the event and then the follow up, and somewhere along the way, I learned from one of you guys to how to properly hand off a referral. And so I told the people that, like, say someone wanted a carpet cleaning company, and I said, hey, I know this guy, Mike Riggins. He's great. He's a good friend of mine. I'm going to put us on a group text, and I'm going to introduce you to, and then I'm going to let you take it from there. So in the past, what I have done is I'll text them that guy's phone number, and then I'll text the guy and say, hey, I just sent your phone number out to someone. I hope they call you. And I
Yeah,
don't know if they ever did or not, but this way
right.
I stay connected. I make sure the introduction happens, and I can follow that.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. All right. And then after Event Mastery, what did you take?
Then was networking mastery,
Yep. All right.
and and well, either networking mastery or time mastery. I think it was time
Yeah,
mastery first.
yeah, networking mastery, probably, most
Yeah,
likely. So,
yeah. And through that, I learned the value, and I've seen the pyramid, the triangle, about the different levels of communication, and I've never really paid attention until networking mastery, that one-to-one meetings are at the top.
that's
And
right.
and I enjoy one-to-one meetings more than anything. And so, you know, I've always, you constantly in this business have title companies and lenders wanting to take you to coffee or to lunch. And I always have thought, I'm a pretty loyal guy
Right.
to people that I work with. And I've always been a little reluctant to take those meetings because I'm feel like I'm going to continue working with the people I work with. But that opened my mind to, not every lender is a great fit for every client. And, sometimes a situation might be better with a different title company. It might be with heirs involved or liens involved. And I've had good experience with this one and maybe not so much with this one. Sometimes investors do better with different uh, attorneys. And so the more I kind of open my mind up to that, and even contractors, like I've got a guy who is pretty good at everything in the house, but he doesn't really specialize in anything. But then you have specialists that only do their thing. And so, as I've learned through networking mastery to kind of connect with everyone who wants to connect with you, they see the value in wanting to connect with you. You need to hear them out and see what they have to offer, and then gauge that, like, hey, are you the chosen one? Are you the person who can do this for my client and bring value? And how can we best serve each other in any space?
Yeah, I love that. And building your referral network so that you're as much a resource to your sphere as anything. They can come to you for anything at that point, literally anything in the Birmingham area. You're going to have a person for it. And like you said, is that a lot of the realtor lenders, have been building their businesses off one-to-ones asking realtors. But from the realtor side, we have a big opportunity to do those one-to-ones with all the other professionals in the city and be more proactive with that. Invite them. And you've really taken that to the next level. You've started this hashtag join Joey part of the application. So how does the join Joey, how does that like apply to your one-to-ones that you learned in networking mastery?
Yeah, so that what I'm doing there is I actually reached out to the first person that I knew would be interested in doing it. We did a test run with them, hoping that we could bring value to them. They were super excited about how we did it. But we, meet for coffee or meet at my office or meet at, one of my restaurants right down behind my office where I spend a lot of time. And we just talk about you. And I try to find out about what you do, what you like, a little bit about your family, a little bit about your goals, how your business serves the community. And we talk about how we can serve each other and serve the community together and what value they can bring and maybe what value I can bring to them. But it's mostly about them. And then I ask them, we might meet for 30 minutes and talk and get to know each other or get to or reconnect. But I asked them, at the end of this, do you have 10, 15 minutes? I haven't done one for less than 19 minutes yet. Some of them have been half an hour. But let's video this and we'll kind of highlight what we've talked about so that we can put that out to the community and showcase you. And what it's done is a lot of people don't like talking about themselves. They don't like
Mm-hmm.
sharing with the public because they feel like they're being boastful, maybe, and they're just timid about being on camera in general sometimes. And I was at once too, but by probing them with questions that kind of open up to be able to talk about themselves and about their business and about their family, and it's bringing a real person to the forefront of a business so that maybe the guy who doesn't have 1,000 Google reviews, who is actually a better service than the person who does, can get in front of the people who needs him.
100%. And who isn't going to want to do a one-to-one with you after they see the Join Joey program, which is essentially meeting with people, doing a short video afterward that promotes their business, and then you share that on your page and in the groups that you belong to. Who, like, here's what's funny. You're promoting others, and yet you're probably getting the most benefit out of it. I always say it's easy to champion a champion, right? It's easy to champion a champion. And what that means is be a champion. When you champion others, you actually become more attractive, because they're like, because the thing is they might need a contractor that you did the video for. But what everyone needs is someone like you who is a champion and an ambassador and willing to promote their business. Everybody needs a promoter.
Right.
Everybody needs a champion. So what's interesting is you're doing this and they're getting a lot of attention and so on and so forth, but you're actually getting a lot of attention as well. And everybody wants to do a one-to-one with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to be the connector. And so one of my neighbors that I wouldn't have ever thought had been watching any of these had turned out to have watched all of them. And they just moved in about a year ago, and they live across the street from me. And the lady asked several weeks ago for a tile guy. She had some cracked tile in her bathroom. She was like, I assume you probably know someone because I've been seeing all these videos. You connect all these people. I was like, yeah, there's actually a guy in our neighborhood who owns a tile business. I'll connect y'all. And then she needed something else, and then she needed something else. And I was telling Sherry this week, as we were talking about this podcast, about these connections and how excited I am to do this. And so my neighbor who lives right next to this lady was had driven himself to the emergency room. He was having some breathing problems, and he had just that afternoon. I was walking up to the pool, and she said, by the way, thank you for the tile guy and the painter. And she said, and I hope this is okay, but I told Vincent that I can't drive because my husband is disabled, but if he ever needed someone in an emergency like that, that he should call you or walk over to find you, because I always work from home primarily. And she said, Joey is the most giving person I know, and I know that he would not hesitate to drop everything and drive you to the hospital. And I was like, absolutely, 100%. You just, anything that I can do to help you guys, you let me know. And so that was an odd connection request, but hey, I'm glad that she sees me in that space.
Well, and you ended up doing something like that, right?
Yes.
So tell us about that.
I've actually done that a couple of times. It wasn't with him, but I've been.
You had a builder or a contractor,
Yes,
right?
yes. One of the builders that I work with, I've taken him. He's recently had some implications with cancer, and he has to go. He can't drive. He's on pain medicine, and so he needs someone to drive him to radiation every day. He only has a few more treatments left, so I'm very thankful that that's almost to the end for him. But I've told him, I'm like, hey, I can work from anywhere. I'll bring my laptop. I'll bring my phone. I can handle business while you're doing that, and then we'll do that. And then actually, he has some projects that I've been able to kind of assist in scheduling some subcontractors and handling some of the pricing of supplies and subs, and kind of taking as much off of him as I possibly can. And it benefits everyone. So,
Yeah, love it. And so then you took Time Mastery again. What was your biggest aha from your second time through Time Mastery?
So I took a little snippet of Time Mastery at RMS. I think it was a 45-minute class, and I remember Neil Smith talking about theme days. And so I kind of leaned in on that. And, as a realtor, I've gone through so many classes, and especially KW offers so much. But it's kind of drilled into you that 9 to 12 every day is lead generation time. You don't let anything interrupt that time. But honestly, that doesn't always work. There's a fire to put out with a closing, or there's something that you're not going to be able to ignore. And so as he talked about that, I'm like, that really is kind of default how I work anyway. Like, I might get started with lead generation, and by 9:30, the closing coordinator is calling me about something. I don't ignore that phone call because it's going to be important. Uh, Something's going to come up, and then I just put the lead generation away, and then I might not get back to it until after 1 o'clock, or maybe not at all that day. And then I feel like a failure by the end of the day. I'm like, I didn't get the one thing that everybody says is most important done. And I feel like I'm behind all the time. And so we talked about theme days, and then it was brought up about doing the pre-call text. And so I leaned in about the pre-call text because I don't like calling anyone without bringing value. And I don't like just catching someone off guard. Most of the people that you're calling are at work. And so you're interrupting something every time you make a phone call, and you have to know that. And so some people are going to be excited that you called because you got them away from something. But most people, they're having to stop what they're doing to answer your call. So these pre-call texts kind of warms that call up. Either they're going to call you back immediately, or they'll say, yes, I've got a minute to call, or they're going to say, give me an hour, or they won't answer at all. And if they don't answer at all, that's fine. And so it has brought me into a situation where I might make 40 outbound phone calls a day and talk to 7 or 10, and the call is still a little bit awkward because you caught them off guard. But when they say, yes, I've got a minute, or they call you back, they're excited to talk to you. They've put everything away. They're focused on you. You're present in the conversation. But when you're there, make sure it's a valuable call. Make sure it's a good conversation. It's not about you getting another transaction. It's about either an event, or it's about, hey, I just connected with this new service and thought you might want to know about it. If there's anybody that I can connect you with, let me know. And that's it. And it's all about them. They know what I do. I don't need to tell them about being a realtor.
That's right. So yeah, don't you love the C3PO strategy? I just like, it's changed the way that I do phone calls forever with doing the pretext, and like, then you're going to get one of 3 or 4 answers, right? You're going to get no answer, which that does happen sometimes. Another one is they text you back and say yes, and you say, hey, call me, or they text you back and say no. How about after 5 p.m.? And it's really hard to do lead gen 9 to noon if everybody you're calling is 9 to 5ers. They're not going to answer the phone, and they shouldn't answer the phone if they're a good employee, right? So, and then the fourth one is they just pick up the phone and literally call you right after the text. So, all 3 out of those 4 responses are really, really good for you, because yeah. So if they say yes, then you say, call me, they call you instead of you calling them, and then you have your conversation. And then if they say no, get me after 5, once again, that they want to do the call, number one, because they responded and gave you a time. And number 2, it works in their schedule. And then, of course, if they just pick up the phone and call you, that's a raving fan. And that just tells you that you've been delivering value to their life for some time, because they just pick up the phone and call. So, and the people that don't respond, what's interesting is if you would have called them anyway, you would have just got their voicemail or annoyed them. So, you're putting yourself in this kind of no rejection mode, so to speak. So what do you say when they, you say, what do you say in the text?
I either if there's an event coming up, I might say something about, hey, I've got a cool event coming up. I'd love to tell you about. Call when you have a minute, or do you have a minute to call? But most of the time, it's just simply, hey, thought about you today. Do you have a minute for a quick phone call? And it's that simple. And they'll call me back, and or they'll tell me when to call.
I love it. I love it. And most of the time, the reason that what you do talk about is about a contractor or a sponsor or partner of your event or an event, right?
Yeah, that and so normally I know who I'm going to call each day, and normally sometime in the night I will spend some time and I'll pre-text to schedule out for the next morning 20 of them.
Talk about that. Yeah. So
Okay.
talk about that. You have weaponized, in my opinion, or strategized in a very powerful way, the send later aspect of iPhone.
Yes.
So, and I believe that I believe the other phones will do it too, but I know that it takes effect on Apple, right? So
Yes.
talk about the send later function using that.
Yeah, so I do I do it every day, and I know kind of what my day is going to look like the next day now, since going through this. Used to not so much, but if I know I have a pretty light schedule for the day, I might schedule out 50 texts to go out at like 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, whatever, and it might be 10 per hour. But every day, even if I have a heavy schedule, I'll send those out to go out at 9 o'clock, and I might do 20 each day. And before I do them, I'm intentional about who I want to text, and I've removed everyone in my phone who I might have any call reluctance about. Like if I feel like I'm going to annoy them by calling, or the conversation wasn't great the last couple of times, I've just deleted them out of my phone. And so if you're still there, you're winning. But I will go back through Facebook or Instagram and kind of see what they've been up to the last couple of weeks, maybe month, and I'll send out that text, and I've got it in my mind, like, Michael just got back from the beach, or they went to Washington, D.C. recently. And, I've got someone who is talking about going there. Tell me about what you guys did. I went to Washington a few years back, 2 years in a row. Tell me about what you did when you were there, and share some of those experiences. They're eager to share good experiences.
Totally.
And it's a reason to make a phone call that's not about business. You're going to ask them about their family. You're going to ask them about what their kids are doing right now. You're going to bring up work. And when you bring up work, they're going to bring it up too. And you just kind of move over that quickly. Yeah, hey, we're doing great. Sales are up this year, struggling with interest rates, but we're making it, so on. And then you move it back to them, like, hey, what are your plans for the end of the year? I know you have a child at going to college. What are her goals after that? And
Love
you
it.
kind of just go through that whole system, but it's all about them.
Love it. Love it. And so good. So all right. So I mean, where does the rubber meet the road? So after 9 months, what has changed, like income wise? What has changed in your life by you being in Referral Mastery Academy?
Yeah. So I have started documenting where my referrals come from, where my business is coming from, and focusing more time on those conversations. If I'm trying to be more intentional about always being in the influential zone. And I think in our time mastery, it was a goal to be a certain percentage per day in that zone. And I started realizing, like, I'm kind of in the influential zone even when I'm not at work.
Mm-hmm.
And people are, pulling me to talk to me, asking me about things that I'm not trying to get those conversations started. They are. And so be realizing when I'm in that space
Yeah.
and realizing like this person is not just asking this because they're genuinely curious. They're asking this because someone in their life probably needs to make a move in some way. Either they're interested in buying, selling, or investing, or they know someone who is. And so I need to pay attention to what I'm saying and how I can bring value to this conversation. And it's making sales easier. And
Yeah. Love it.
income is up, sales are up, referrals. I know where they're coming from. I'm not interested. I've got a guy on my team who constantly I'm trying to help him kind of shift into this world, into this mindset, but he's constantly talking about advertising and marketing. And I'm like, dude, however many people are in your phone are the ones who need to know what you're doing because they know other people that need to know what you're doing, and you just need to love them. You don't need to worry
Yep.
about, your face being on something. You just need to make sure that the people who know you care about them.
Love it. Love it. You nailed it. Drop the mic. Ladies and gentlemen, Joey Calvin. Joey, thank you so much for being our guest today on Referrals Podcast. You nailed it again. I appreciate you. I love you. I can't wait to see what the next 9 months holds for you. 6 figures plus and tons of referrals and all the accolades that you deserve. I just really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been great.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is our episode today for Referrals Podcast. And by the way, thank you so much for tuning in. If today feels like something that you'd like to learn more about, go to joingengen.com to join the Generosity Generation, our global referral network. And if you're ready to jump in, you're ready to go all in, you're ready to make the second half of your year the best half of the year you've ever had, go to referralmasteryacademy.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time on Referrals Podcast.